Eric,
Okay.
Yeah, and this is your calendar.
See my calendar? Okay.
Yep, there we go.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much. Good morning again, everybody. My name is Yanutian Combian, and I'm a programs administrator with the Commission. And today, I'll be walking you through AmeriCorps member benefits. Here is an overview of what we'll be covering in this session. We will look at why become an AmeriCorps member and its associated tangible and intangible benefits. You would realize that I grouped them into three main bullet points, and the first two could be categorized under intangible because it's immeasurable. And then we have the benefits part, which is very tangible, that we would look at towards the end. And then we can have questions and answers towards the end. But of course, I'm a driver who stops. So if you want to chime in and make a comment, I know a lot of us already have experience in this field. So if you want to chime in and pass a comment or ask a question, I would stop. I'm a driver who will stop. Okay, great. So as a program director or program coordinator, knowing these benefits and communicating them effectively can be a powerful recruitment tool. If I say powerful, I remember last week we had a session recruitment, and we were introduced to a lot of systems and mechanisms through which we can recruit members. And if we have these benefits at our fingertips, it's going to be a good attraction point for people and also to keep them. So we're not only interested in recruiting them, we're also interested in keeping them. And we feel like if the benefits, are communicated effectively, or the benefits are, they're able to assess it, we'll be able to do a lot of the retention that we so much desire as a program. Great. So, um, when I was putting this PowerPoint together, I just had to find a place for this picture. A, because I couldn't resist the smiles. B, because those teeth are white. And I was just, it kind of represents where we have been and where we currently are, really. And and we've been through a lot as a group, and this picture kind of depicts it. And I kind of kept wondering what they were talking about. Maybe they were talking about member benefits now that our members have been restored, and maybe the retro benefits also in. Perhaps they were talking about that. But on a serious note, I wanted to use this picture to give a big, big shout out to all our amazing program directors and program coordinators who have held our members down through this period and who are helping them navigate their benefits and letting them know where to find it, how to use it. We say thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's proceed. There is people join AmeriCorps because of all the benefits as introduced in that overview. But there are certain people, category of people who join not entirely because of the benefit, but then it's because of a time to reflect. I have Eric and Yen who have graduated recently and who are friends, and they haven't seen each other in a minute. Yen found something doing with her life, but Eric is still, trying to find what to do and decide what to do. So when they finally did meet, this is what
I'm
transpired
sorry, Yen.
between them. Yes?
Yeah, go ahead and move your slide one forward. You're not
Yes,
at the right slide.
absolutely.
There you
Yes.
go. Excellent.
So this is it. So, hey, Eric, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
Super, actually. I recently joined AmeriCorps and I'm loving the experience.
AmeriCorps? That's
Mm-hmm.
cool. My cousin is a member too. You know what? I've been thinking of either joining an AmeriCorps program or just finding a job, but I don't want to rush into something and realize it's not what I really want.
Hmm. You hit the nail right on the head, Eric. Serving with AmeriCorps can give you time to reflect and decide. In fact, it gives you time to learn and reflect. right? Um, AmeriCorps program incorporates career coaching as it is designed to build upon your skills and your passion. You learn new skills while you apply your existing knowledge and experience to the new situations that you encounter while serving. And besides that, the reflection period while serving can shape your future. For example, whilst you're tutoring or mentoring young people in an after school program, you pick up, you get inspired, one, you pick up new skills, you perhaps will get a professional certification that leads you down the path of teaching as a profession.
That's really cool. Tell me more
Mhm.
about the benefits of being an AmeriCorps member
Of
again.
course, Eric, I've got you. Good. So one big benefit, which is going to be part of our intangible benefits, is that you be a part of something big. You get an opportunity to be part of a national program right here in New York. You join an alumni program, an alumni network, you join a historical national program as well. When you serve with AmeriCorps, you join a network of more than 1.3 million strong. AmeriCorps alumni continue to give back to their community through civic-minded activities. The community you build while serving with AmeriCorps is unlike any other. Later in the presentation, I would go deeper into the array of alumni networks that members can access after completion of service. Sorry, I had to take a sip of water. Good. And the other benefits we're looking at is that you grow personally and professionally. Service in AmeriCorps gives education, extensive training, and real life work experience. One gets to give back to their community and provide them with services they need. Besides, it's satisfying, and when you take up new challenges, the best part is that you get to see the results. In fact, you learn and grow whilst giving back to community. Individuals who serve with AmeriCorps build new skills and they can take it with them wherever they go. With older Americans who also apply, they are able to apply their hard-earned knowledge to make impact in their new environment. And then to add icing to the cake, as indicated, you receive benefits for your service. AmeriCorps members get a living allowance, supplemental health insurance, loan deferment, and childcare. On top of that, when they complete their term of service, they will receive a Siegel Education Award that can pay their student loan or be used for tuition cost. You see, Eric, go find an AmeriCorps program now and join, and you won't regret it.
That sounds great, Yen. Tell
Great. Good. So now let's take a look a little deeper into these various benefits that we just mentioned. The member living allowance. Most AmeriCorps members receive a living allowance during their service term that varies by program. Programs are not required to provide living allowance for members serving in less than full-time service terms. However, if a program chooses to provide the living allowance to a member who's serving in less than full-time service term, the amount should be prorated according to the hours that the member served per year. And this can be compared to the table that is shown on the slide right now. It's important to note that the AmeriCorps member living allowance is not a wage, it is a stipend. The living allowance is considered taxable income and it should not be counted as income for the purpose of determining your supplemental security income, SSI eligibility, or your SNAP benefits. Living allowance distribution should not fluctuate based on hours served unless the program is a fixed cost program. Payments starts and ends with the term of service. We don't consider lump sums. We don't do catching ups. We've seen them before, and so we just want to stress it again that living allowances, there are no lump sums and there are no catching ups. And I also want to add that AmeriCorps members who are serving in New York State are not considered employees. Therefore, they are not eligible for unemployment benefits, including unemployment insurance. As we page forward, we'll look at another benefit, which is healthcare coverage. And this is offered to full-time members um, who are serving in full-time capacity. And if these members have an existing coverage, they may decline. And if they do decline, it's best for them to have to sign a waiver and have that waiver on your file, and then they would have to prove that they have coverage. And then the things that they can indicate as proof is that they show that they are actually having a Medicaid or Medicare, or they're on some kind of military benefits, or they're staying on their partner or spouse's plan, or they have an insurance from a private broker or an insurance from a federal health insurance marketplace. So when these members, full-time members, have declined, things happen in life. So during the course of their service, through no fault of theirs, if they lose their coverage, healthcare is, we encourage programs to make these healthcare coverage available for them. Again, as a program, you are able to provide your members who serve in less than full-time slots, but then who are occupying full-time in a full-time capacity, but you're not required to do so. Also remember that AmeriCorps will not cover healthcare costs for dependent coverage, and insurance plans must include the minimum essential coverage, and it must meet the Affordable Care Act as well. Okay, good. So now we have the child care coverage. So this is also provided for AmeriCorps members through, well, AmeriCorps members who are eligible, or it's also comes in a form of a child care allowance to full-time participants who need childcare to participate. And the criteria is that you have to be, you have to have a child who is under 13 years old, that your family income is not exceeding 75% of the state's median income for same size family, and that the participant or the AmeriCorps member is not currently on any child care support from any other source. It's also good to remember as a program that this child care coverage is administered through an outside contractor. So you would get more information through the link that is on the slide. And then, as indicated, just like the healthcare coverage, childcare coverage, you can provide that for less than full-time members who are serving in full-time capacity. You can provide that. And if you do provide that, you don't, you are not necessarily required to provide that as well. And for members who are full-time and they decline their childcare coverage, it's good practice to have some kind of waiver on file to show that they declined it as well. Great. And the Siegel Award, this is like an icing also. Members who complete their service terms or who serve at least 15% of a term and exit with compelling circumstances, and the Siegel AmeriCorps Education Award. And this award depends on the value of the Pell Grant, so the fiscal year in which the term is approved, and a member's slot type. We'll have a lot of information about slot types in another session immediately after this. Once a person earns the award, it's important to note that the award amount cannot be changed. So it is up to us as program administrators and program coordinators and directors to ensure that you give your members sufficient time to complete their required services as well. Also note that members can use the award to repay qualified student loans, as indicated earlier, and they can pay current educational expenses at eligible institutions as well. The amount that members are eligible to receive depends on the year they serve and the number of hours. As indicated in the previous slide, members who complete their service terms earn a full Siegel Education Award, and those who serve at least 15% of their term and exit with compelling circumstances earn a prorated award. And this is how the award amount looks for program year 2025. There's been a lot of frequently asked questions, and we have a link in the slide which will be available to you. But the three that I want to point on is that one, it's important to note that the awards are used within, the Siegel Award is used within 7 years. There are instances where an individual can have some special requests to go beyond the 7 years. When if that's the case, you would have to reach out to the trust to be able to do that, because there are a lot of limitations for that. Individuals who are at least 55 years old may transfer their education awards to their children, to their stepchildren, to their grandchildren, to their foster kids, and all payments made using the education awards. We should remember to always let our members know that they are subject to federal tax in the year in which they make the payments. So it's good to give them heads up so that if they want to use it, they should use it when their income is within range, because it is taxable. Alumni networks is one major benefit that our members enjoy. Upon successful completion of service, AmeriCorps members and the Peace Corps alumni have access to over 600 employers of national service. And through these initiatives, the employers have access to a pool of dedicated, skilled, results-driven talents, and then our alumni also have an opportunity to use their skills in the workplace. In addition to that, there is also the School of National Service, and the School of National Service offers financial assistance opportunities to AmeriCorps alumni, including scholarships, application fee waivers, and more. There is also a network hosted by Service Year called the AmeriCorps Alum, and this connects the over 1.3 million alumni all over the nation to resources that support their lives of service. What I want to know right now is to know if programs have an existing alumni networks. It will be, you can share it with us. You can put it in the chat. If you want to come out off mute to share that too, it will be great. If you have your own alumni network, will be great. And if it is functioning, how it's functioning. It's something that the commission has been trying to do for some time now. And thinking about it, I feel like if we have strong networks within programs, it will be easier for the commission to be able to do the state's alum group. So if you have one, it'll be great. You can put it in. I'll give you a few moments to put it in the chat or to come off mute and share how your alumni network is working, how you're planning to make it work, and all that.
Would anyone like to share? How does everyone coordinate their alumni networks? How do they set up their alumni networks, or if you don't already have something like that set in place now, do you have any plans to do so in the near future? Anyone?
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
share.
Okay, great.
Do you want to hear a story? Oh my gosh. So we have access to all New York State alumni who have served in AmeriCorps in New York State from the past 35 years. So I went into that database and I took the email addresses of every single New York State alumnus. And then I sent out a test email to see what would happen. And it worked, but I also got 7,000 bounce back emails. So then I had to
Mm.
manually curate that database. But suffice to say, after a week of clearing out my inbox, we now have the ability to send messages to all New York State alumni from all of the history of AmeriCorps. But it was an adventure to get there. So, but we have that now, so that
Great.
works. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, and I mean, it's a good point I mean, something to think about as we're entering into the new program year, because alumni networks do a lot for us, right? And we've been talking about recruitment and retention, but if we have a strong alumni network within our individual programs, they would be the mouthpiece of a lot of things that we're doing. So if we haven't thought about that or we're in the process of doing it, it would be a great point to do that. Okay, good.
So Emily asks Casey in the chat, do you mean members under any branch of AmeriCorps who served in New York, or just state national New York members?
I think it's just state and national because we can't see the vistas. Yeah, so it's just state and national, but it was still like it was tens of
State and national.
thousands. Yeah, it's so just grants that our office received. So anybody who's served under a formula program, anybody who's served under a competitive program, we wouldn't have access, right, to contacts from national direct programs. But it's still it's a handful. It's a lot of people.
That's awesome. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that,
Thank
Casey.
you.
Does anyone have any other examples of? Oh, you got a hand clap there. Good job, Casey. Does anyone have any other examples of alumni networks that that any programs maintain or plan to maintain or?
Yeah, I think they're thinking about it.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a takeaway. And then, yeah, we can come revisit that in the future. Yeah. Okay. So we proceed. Another benefit is the member assistance program, and this is designed to provide accessible and quality mental health services to AmeriCorps members, their program staff, and their families. The commission pays the basic package for AmeriCorps New York programs, and programs can augment it, but the basic package includes telephonic counseling services, text and chat counseling, coaching, mobile app, financial and legal consulting, and life coaching. They have a 24-hour toll-free number, which is we've provided on the chat for counseling support from a professional licensed counselor on topics ranging from substance abuse, anxiety, depression, grief counseling, and more. There is also another benefit you can communicate or pass over to your members is the Member Emergency Fund. And this is a collaboration between the Commission and America's Service Commission, ASK. The fund provides up to $500 cash assistance to eligible members who experience emergency financial needs that threaten their ability to complete a service. And this can range from medical, which includes personal, family, or pets. It can also include housing, transportation, family loss, and others. Members who are interested to apply can go to AmeriAidNewYork.org. And before your members apply, it advise them to provide documentation to prove their identity and their residency, and a screenshot most likely of their My AmeriCorps page or the eGrants homepage verifying their AmeriCorps member status. And if application is free, if any of your members tell you that they were asked to pay before applying, let them know that it's a scam. It's absolutely free. If that happens, you can report to support.ameriaid.org. There is also the National AmeriCorps Emergency Fund, which is an initiative from America's Service Commission, ASK, and this was recently launched due to the recent demobilization and terminations in April and May. So your members are able to apply for $500 in one-time financial assistance from the National AmeriCorps Emergency Fund. Good. So now that we have run through the benefits and that AmeriCorps as a program offers to our members, I'm also very curious to know if our long-standing programs. Oh, I think there's somebody. Casey, you have something to say? You have your hand raised or no? Is that Casey?
That's
Oh
me.
no, it's another
Oh,
CV.
Carl. Okay. Oh, it's another CV. Sorry.
Yeah, it's another CV. That's the original one.
Original
Just
CV.
kidding. Yes. So that's good news, like to know that AmeriCorps members are eligible to apply for emergency fund. Is there like a deadline for them to submit such application?
It's currently opened. It's currently opened. So yeah, they can apply. There's no deadline. Well, at least they've not told us there's a deadline yet.
And I think like anyone, like any AmeriCorps member, like can do so. Like it doesn't matter if you're full time, part time.
Oh, so it was for those who were impacted. So if you have new members now, most likely they won't qualify. But if you had
Mhm.
members who were within that time frame, where there was the demobilization and terminations, yes, they're able to actually apply if, yeah,
All right,
they
thank you.
qualify. Yeah, good. Yeah, so I'm curious. We've gone through all these benefits that the program offers to members. I'm curious to know how our standing programs are offering program-specific benefits to their members. You can put them in the chat if you want to come off mute, like original CV did. You can do that. So yeah, I know, we know that benefits are keeping them, right? And sometimes we augment it and try to get more than the program already offers. So something like a bait to attract them to our specific program. So if your individual programs have program specific benefits and you want to share so that other programs can learn from, you can put them in the chat or come off mute to share with us. Okay. You have anybody? Okay, so I'm going to share, and then it can keep, because some of the things that I'm going to share, you would realize that you actually are doing them. Okay, so, oh, somebody coming off mute, I think. No. Okay.
No, I just signed back in because
I see.
before. I was going to mention that, and I'm sorry because I left and came back if this is out of sync, but our program actually is going to, not only will they serve as full-time members in AmeriCorps volunteer service, they're also going to be employed as apprentices. So they'll have both wages and a living stipend for the different work that they're doing. And so it'll add a layer of income to their work by kind of marrying those two together.
Great. Thanks for sharing.
Alina, why don't we we'll follow up with you after the training and see what happened with the members applying for the member emergency fund. So
I can add a little to Alina's question.
Okay.
Because our Vista member experienced the same thing when trying to access the fund. This is my own speculation, but because of the grant termination, there was like a massive amount of requests coming in for that fund, and I think ASK got overwhelmed trying to cover all requests and assessing whether they were eligible on those grounds. Also my opinion, but they didn't do a great job of communicating what was available and what was the criteria that they were approving requests, or if they had run out of funding or not. The hope is, because it's still a fund that is available in this program here. The hope is, with some normalization returning after grant reinstatement, that the claims will be processed more smoothly. But that, I just wanted to acknowledge that our Vista members had the same issue that Alina had mentioned, and it's likely due to the chaos of grant termination and all the requests that ASK received around that time.
Great. Thanks for
thank
sharing,
you, Anthony. Yeah.
Okay, we'll proceed. Okay, so here are some localized and program-specific benefits that I have deduced from program-specific programs. Some programs offer housing support, and this support can be free. It can be low-cost housing or housing stipend. Others have workers' compensation policy in place just in case of injury while serving. I think that this particular one, every program here has it because it's a requirement from the New York State. So usually would be asked to send your workers' compensation proof and all that. So you all do have that. Others have relocation allowances. City Year, for example, offers their eligible AmeriCorps members who are relocating 50 miles or more to start service a $500 pre-tax one-time relocation payment. And they also have what they call the Employee Assistance Program, a confidential intervention and referral resource for dealing with a range of issues from stress, conflict, emotional worries, legal questions, and name it. There are other programs who are also offering mileage-based travel allowances and reimbursements. Others are given movie coupons, theater coupons. There are member travel allotments and subsidies. And there is transportation passes that programs are also offering and some local discounts. What I would encourage programs usually would be that you can actually identify certain services and packages and then work with your local authorities. You find them in your communities, you work with those local authorities and business owners to subsidize those services and packages that you have identified. And then you can actually have that as a package specifically for your program that is just unique for your program. So in addition to all that we've discussed today, this is what AmeriCorps offers in addition. This is what, Sunset Park offers in addition. And those are things that we want to do to be able to support our members whilst they serve, and because it's a good incentive as well. Right. And before I wrap up, I want to also mention that public assistance benefits may affect service in AmeriCorps. housing subsidies and just SNAP benefits should not be impacted. So it's very important that when your potential members are, in discussion with your caseworkers, they should let them know whether joining AmeriCorps would impact their public assistance benefits or not. We would also recommend as a commission that you develop a relationship with your local Department of Social Services so that if there are any updates on all these benefits, you'd be able to pass that information on to your members so they can make informed decisions. Yep.
Yeah. Is there? So there's a question in the chat.
Mhm.
Rulian asks if members are eligible for unemployment insurance or not. I thought you covered that in your
Yeah,
slide?
I mentioned
Are
it.
they?
They are not.
They are not.
Yeah,
Okay.
they are
All
not
right.
considered employees, and so they are not eligible for unemployment.
Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, good. Great. So thank you so much for your attention. And if you have contributions to make, I'm happy to feed on your vast knowledge and experience. If you have comments, it's welcome. If you have questions, it's also very welcome.
Does anyone have any questions for Yen? Oh, Yen, Carl, did you have your hand raised?
Yes.
No questions. First of all, I wanted to congratulate Yen for amazing presentation, and I really like the way she started, a presentation like I mean, it's a way like to wow, like to inspire like the audience, because starting it with the conversation between you and Eric makes that presentation like very different. To be
Yes.
honest with you, I was telling myself, you know what, it was going to be just like the same regular, conversation about member benefits. But when you started that conversation, that back and forth, I said, oh, that's amazing. Kudos to you.
Thank you, Carl.
So for your last slide regarding like how transparent like program directors and managers need to be with prospective AmeriCorps members, I can tell you right, because that's something my team has been doing for the past few years, knowing that benefits are subject to change, particularly with this current administration. So we always let them know that there's a possibility that their social benefits may be impacted with their stipends. And so we always encourage them like to touch base with their case managers, because a lot of them, they do have case management assistants. And we do offer them like the opportunity like to touch base with other places that are providing resources for people who are struggling like to get accurate information like to keep their benefits. Yeah,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Hey, Lana, did you have your hand raised or both hands raised?
Yes, she said about the coupons, transportation passes, local discount, those kind of things. Do we have a platform? Like, how do I find specific information about that? Like,
Oh,
how can we help our members, to get access to those things?
yes. So those who have it, they are in discussion with some of these movie theaters and producers, and they're able to say, hey, we have this number of AmeriCorps members who are doing great work in the community. So it's how you market your program and your what's the impact your members are having to the enterprise or the organization, and be like, if you can give us subsidized coupons so that,
Mm,
over the weekend after their service, they would want to come in and watch a movie in your theater as a way of marketing you and also appreciating what they do in the community. So find ways, identify these producers or theater
mhm,
halls in your community, and then negotiate with them, sell your products, sell your members, and the impact
mhm.
you're making. And usually they want to support as much as they can. Yeah, they will
Oh,
subsidize a lot
okay.
of these for you. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Maybe
You're
it's
welcome.
an idea. I'm not ready for that yet, but maybe we could do a committee to go
Yeah.
after those places and maybe, make it
Yeah.
like a platform that we can have it all. So it's an
Hmm.
idea. I'm
Hmm.
not ready for that yet, but maybe I will pinch in the future. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So
I
Christine
can
just wanted to confirm. Oh, I'm sorry. Christine
Mhm.
in the chat wanted to confirm that so there are no pre-established coupons or links. The programs would have to develop them, and that sounds like the case, right, Jan?
You mean
It
the
sounds like another
coupons,
opportunity.
coupons to the movies and all that?
Yeah, that's something that
No, you
programs
have
would have to
to,
do.
yeah, you have to link up with someone you identify who can offer a discount, and then just for your members, specific for your members. Yeah, so there's no
Mhm.
link. You have to go out there and sort them out.
Yeah, and I'll add a little bit to this based on seeking benefits for our Vista members. A lot of it is just the legwork that you do locally because there's no website on Ask or
Mm-hmm.
AmeriCorps that curates discounts for members. It would be
Yeah.
nice if there was, but often you can just by reaching out to organizations discover whether they offer
Mm-hmm.
or would even be willing to offer discounts.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't have it, or they haven't considered it. But if you explain uh, the mission of AmeriCorps and the fact that members are receiving a modest living allowance, oftentimes, especially community oriented organizations are willing to offer benefits. I can give a pretty useful example with the YMCA. I'll drop the link for the New York City YMCA financial assistance program. The way YMCA's are structured, they're all regional, so it could be different depending on which region you're in. But I'm pretty sure every regional YMCA will offer some sort of discounted membership
Mm-hmm.
just by filling out an application form and providing the reason why a discount's needed, and they're happy to offer that
Mm-hmm.
for your members.
Yeah. Nice. Thanks for sharing, Anthony.
Does anyone have any other questions or any other contributions for Jan? Okay. So Anthony left a link in the chat for New York City YMCA gym memberships. Do we
Mm-hmm.
need to take a break, or can we launch right into Cooley's presentation? How's everyone feeling?
Maybe just take a quick 5, Eric.
Okay.
5.
All
Okay.
right. So it
Thank
is.
you.
All right. Elizabeth seconds that motion. So, all right. So why don't we take 5 minutes? I'll see. Right now it's 11:21. Why don't we return at 11:26? All right.
Okay.
See you all soon. All right, folks, we're going to get started in 1 more minute. Cooley's ready to roll. All right, it's 11:26. Cooley, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. This is Cooley Chung, Program Administrator. So for the next 2 sections, I'm gonna go over some e-grants, how to enroll the member in e-grants, and also the required step for a NSCHC, which stands for National Service Criminal History Checks, or I might just simply referring, the AmeriCorps background check at times, or but for program that has been with us, you guys should be pretty familiar with all these details, but it doesn't hurt to have a refresher course. For program that is joining the AmeriCorps family, as a new uh, agency, these items, while it's kind of the nitty-gritty details, but it is relatively important because it does have a fiscal impact uh, on your agency, potentially negative fiscal impacts. If certain steps are not done prior to the members start the service, we might not be able to, pay any costs associated with them, and your agency might have to pick up the tab, which is it could be as simple as forgetting a signature, what we call adjudication, a signature to come to sign up on the background check, and then, we just simply can't pay even if the member have been serving for a good 3 months at that point. We cannot pay any expense associated with it. So for any new program that is joining the family, make sure to pay extra attentions during this course. For experienced program, just, sit back and have a quick refresher, grab a drink, anything like that, or feel free to chip in if I said anything wrong in the meantime. eGrant is a ever rewarding the developing systems. Not really. They have been trying to change eGrant for the last, I think, 10 years and not successful. So what you're seeing, it should be pretty familiar to what you've seen in the past. So first, I'm gonna go over the enrollment in eGrants, how to actually enroll a member. Once after Ian's presentations, recruitments and benefits, we identify candidates. We kind of have a brief introduction with them. It seems like the starting point is that both your agency and the potential applicant is kind of aligned with each other, that will be interested in serving and have position available. That seems like a good fit candidates. And then so what's next steps afterwards? So in order for any programs to enroll any members in eGrants, which is very critically important, eGrants, which is the management, what we refer to the portal from the management side, but from the member, they might be something sometimes to see as eGrants or My AmeriCorps portal. Depends on how they log into the systems. So when they successfully complete the term, this is where they start their first step to requesting the education award. So this is kind of important for the members to know, to go through as well. Um, so in order to successfully enroll a member, first you have to create posting on of the position that you are promoting on the AmeriCorps, My AmeriCorps portals, which is you create a posting inside eGrants and it will be kind of pushed toward over there. Afterward, the enrollment process has overall 4 phases. There is like the invite, there is the applications, then there's the enrollments, and there's the actual enrollments afterwards. And there's criminal background check as step number 3. Now, so the steps in eGrant has to happen in order, and a lot of programs also have their own interview process outside of eGrants that the step might varies. Might be having the application process first before the invitation goes out, which is perfectly fine. Whatever you do offline outside of the eGrants portal does not have to be aligned here, but all the step that is required in eGrants still has to be done at some point or the other. Um, so and let us going over starting with this service opportunity listing. So when you go into eGrant, see if you have access to create posting. So when you go to My AmeriCorps, go to AmeriCorps, and then there's a portal homes on the homepage. After you after that, you can click on recruitment basket on the left side. You might not have as many tabs as we do on our ends, but you should have one tab that says recruitment basket. And after recruitment basket, you can click on the link that says create opportunity listing. Or you can simply edit an old one that you used in the past, just doing some minor edits, for example, updating the the years and items like that. Let me see. There's a question in the chat say, would this be recorded? Just to confirm with Eric, is this still being recorded?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Of course.
So
Yep.
Gonna keep moving forward with
As
this.
we speak. Yes.
Yeah. So once you create a posting, and then you will have to fill in informations regarding the posting. For example, location, date and time. What are some criteria of the members you are recruiting? For example, like there's age, and general information about the positions. What are the program activities? Things like that. I think there's 3 pages worth of information that you have to fill out. So for first page, I think you'll be asked, what is the application date range? In which period are you accepting the applications? So for example, if your program has it runs on a year long, but only has a recruitment period of the first 3 months, because let's say if it is school-based program, and it's not really feasible to have onboard a member in the later half of the school year, which is fine. You can simply go into eGrants and kind of temporarily put it, sort of kind of disable/hide it for now, and then in next year you can re-enable it, by just changing the application date range for that. So and your contact information. So if they have any questions, who should they contact, regarding posting? It may be a different person per host site, or maybe it is the same recruiter for all the programs host site. It's kind of up to the program structure how they would like to, put up the structure with it. So that's kind of the first sections of you of the informations. And then they will be able to search your posting on the My AmeriCorps portal. General recommendation is that if you're doing any outside platform to promote it, include this the link to your posting in any other platform posting as well, like Indeed, any job posting or any kind of social media that will send them to your posting, and then they can apply directly if they're interested. So that would be my recommendations in that case. And then make sure that you also have to set up a service locations, where the physical locations of that member of that service activity will be at. Because the posting require a physical location associated with it in order to be established. So once you have a service posting, now the member can potentially go to your posting and hit apply at that point. Now we're kind of talking about enrollment. So there are 4 phases total. There is a pre-enrollment phase. There is a step to verify the social security number and citizenships. And there is completing the enrollment form. And then there is the finalizing the enrollment in eGrant. So we're going to go over all of them one at a time. But time things which as we should still be able to finish timely for this training. I'll try to. This will be less than I think I have, but I will go for as quickly as I can. So before I move forward, any questions regarding setting up a service posting so far? Especially for any newcomer to the families. Any question that I can be assist with, feel free to post it in the chat. So first step is to initiate the pre-enrollments. You can start the pre-enrollments by either select a member. They can go to, so once they look up your posting, a member could be looking up your posting and hit, apply to your programs. So, and then you will see them as a potential candidate. Or in eGrants, you also have the options to send an invitation directly to a specific person. Now, when you send the invitation email to a specific person, it does ask for some information, including email address and even social security number. So it seems like if you get that much information from the member, it seems like you already had a lot of offline process happened already, like interview that you might have your own agency application process, things like that. So both option will trigger the pre-enrollment. Now, with either options, it will prompt the member to fill out an applications. While there might be an applications outside your paper versions or maybe a different form functions, but eGrant also has an application process. It might feel a bit redundant for the member that they're doing it for a second time, but it is a required step. So for the member, once they either hit applying or either when they accept your invitation through emails, they will be sent a link to create an account in eGrants and create applications. The application will ask for some basic informations. We can see kind of at the tabs on the top here. Those are information that they filled out, basic information, motivational statements, experience, educations, questionnaire, some demographic information. So they will have to fill out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tabs on the above. And so when your agency or your recruiter is going to eGrants, you will see a applicant. And then you go through the 8 tabs, looking at the members' informations, and then you make a decision whether to select or reject a member for the service programs. And then, that will be the initial kind of pre-enrollment phase for the members. And then we'll be and once you click accept, it will prompt to the next phase, which is the system will try to verify the social security number and the citizenship check. At least they will try to verify it automatically behind the scene first. If it is not successful, we'll go to a manual verification phase. But also next slide, I'm going to show you, what it looks like when you send an invitation to the member. So when you send the invitation to the member, you will see there's you will have the name and the social security number, and you will be sending, asking for email address, date of birth. So it does verify the person, a lot of information there. So, so we know exactly which person you are, we should be sending the invitation to. And you'll be asking, which program that you are sending the invitation for, so that when they hit, apply, at least the system will automatically submit their member application to your specific program you point out. Specifically, if you have multiple programs in a single year, that is important to make the differences. So and from the members end, they will receive an emails, and then they will receive a link to kind of which asks them to kind of verify the informations, make sure that the verification they are supposed to receive the invitation that's sent by you. And afterward, they will be asked to create a eGrants account, for their own login purpose. So that is how it looks like from the members portion on the invitations. Now, once the member, either accept or apply on their own and submit an application, and then you hit and you accept them into the service positions, it's not enrolled yet at that point. There are unfortunately 2 more steps before the actual enrollments. Step number 2 is that the eGrants will try to verify their citizenships and social security automatically behind the scene. So step number 1, there's no action required from the member or the program's end, is that they will try to verify automatically with the database behind the scene. It's gonna be sorry that. Now there are 2 possible results in that scenarios. And let me go to the next slide. So we see here are 2. Well, actually there are multiple status, but 2 possible result is that they're able to verify automatically, which in this screenshot we can see the social security number was verified automatically on February 5th of 2019. However, the citizenship has been returned. It doesn't mean the citizenship is not eligible. It just means that they are not able to automatically verify with the process behind the scene in eGrants, which we were never informed how exactly is that function, but it does happens. Especially if a person was not born in U.S. citizens. It does sometimes come back with it. So in this case, you have to do an extra steps to kind of verify the citizenship status. So a quick comment is that usually the verifications or the automatic verification is pretty quick. Usually they indicate it's kind of within the 3 business days. I have heard sometimes it's even faster. Uh, but I also heard in recent times that it's taking a little bit longer in the last month from base camp. So if you are experiencing any issue that I'll say more than 3 days, definitely reach out, inform your commission program administrator, let them know, and then also reach out to the eGrant help desk and kind of prompt them a little, nudge them a little, saying, "Hey, this is over 3 days now. Can we, can we get a answer as to what is the status if it is pending or open?" So when you look at e-grants, these are the possible status. Open, which means you send the invitation, the member hasn't created the account yet. Pending, which refers to the member has accepted the invitation, submit the application, you have accepted the member positions, and then they're doing the automatic verification behind the scene. Verify, which means the automatic verifications was successful. Return, which means they are not able to do it automatically. You have to submit, additional documentation to verify it. Manual verify, which means yes, the item that you submit is good to go. Generally speaking, they will backdate it back to the original when they accept the invitations for the most part. And last but not least is that the documentation that you submit cannot be verified. Sometimes maybe because of poor image quality or just by accident sending the wrong documentations, things like that. So if that is the scenarios, you would just have to reach out to eGrant's help desk again, and once again to ask for a secure link to upload the files. Now, when you get the status of return, how exactly do you submit the required documentation? Well, you should also, have the process chat offline with the member and request the documentation that can verify either the social security number or citizenship, whichever that is being returned, to the actual documentation, for example, like a passport or like a birth certificates for the citizenships or the actual social security number for card for the social security. So once you obtain those documents from the member, you want to reach out to eGrant hotline and request a secure file link, because those are considered personal identifiable information documentations. We cannot simply just email them and call it a day. We do have to send it to them through a secure channels. So, and to obtain a secure channel, the only way is by calling the help desk and then request one. There is no other options, unfortunately, to request a secure link. Or you can also do it through the web form, I suppose, in calling, and requested the link, and you'll get the link in emails, and then from there you can upload the documentation that is to prove either the social security number or citizenship eligibility at that point. Now, after you submit it, if it is sufficient to verify the eligibility, usually, once again, within 3 business days, it will turn to manually verify. If it is not sufficient, sometimes it will just kind of being in pending status for a little while, or it will just be changed to manually return again, unable to verify. If it takes longer than 3 days, once again, like I said, inform your commission's program administrator. I believe the assignment has not gone out yet, currently speaking, but it soon will be for the program year 2025. So that is regarding the Social Security and citizenship verification steps. Okay, so here is a comment from the field. So when you are submitting documentations from for the manual verifications, do not put, for example, if both social security number and citizenship requires manual verifications, the recommendation from the field is that do not include all of them as one file. Make sure that you upload separate files with, there's a naming system, I guess, clearly label which one is for social security and which one is for citizenships, so that it's just, less confusion in between. Anytime when, in general statements is that if you're providing a clarification or proof to anyone, don't leave them space for any question or confusions. Be as clear and as precise as you can. That is a general, approach. In addition to, to verifications and, including criminal background check or any kind of audit, as precise, as clear as possible. Don't expect to just submit one lump sum giant documents with no page number and expect people to figure it out for you. Chances are they will not. So we have different labels for different documentations, and just be precise what this documentation for clearly in the label. So thank you for that comments. And any questions regarding the citizenships and social security number verification so far? Okay, so gonna move on to phase 3 is kind of completing the enrollments. Once they are enrolled, now we keep moving forward. Now still on your on the programs, and now there are a couple steps that you have to do before the members actually enroll. They call My AmeriCorps enrollment forms. I usually refer as just the certification that you have to do, because at this point, after the criminal background check, after this verification for citizenship has been verified, you can also concurrently perform the NSCHC, the National Service Criminal History checks, as at the side offline. Because before the member is enrolled, it does ask for a certification that your agency has done the NSCHC already, and it will ask you to include a day when that is completed. So, which is very important, because if a member has not gone through the NSCHC process and becomes eligible from that regard, you will be pretty much making a false statement at this point. And yes, making a false statements on anything that you write on paper is, generally speaking, not good. So you will never know how an auditor sees it, when they audit it. Hey, you certify here, but you never actually complete that, the promised actions. Sometimes they see it as an honest mistake, but sometimes they see it as a fraudulent statement at that point. So consider that you have to certify new grants, so you always want to make sure that the criminal background check is, tied it up in a nice bold and tied at that point, everything packed in a good box and good to go. So, and you have to certify on which day was the criminal background check completed. And we'll go over what we refer as a complete NSCHC in the next presentation, which is all the way up to the final adjudications. But just to be aware, there is a certification that you have to do. I know when we come to TOS, a lot of people just kind of scroll through and hit accept. I'm also guilty. If sometimes I see there's 20-page TOS that just scroll to the bottom and hit accepts. So just be aware. What we are certifying here is that the criminal background check is complete. And then you have to enter a date. The date that you enter here should be the date that you officially adjudicate the checks in TrueScreen. We'll explain later. And then once then we can actually enroll the member in new grants. So you see there are, in this page, which is exactly from e-grants, you'll see couple dating here. You see when the Social Security was verified. You see when the citizenship is verified. There's also a National History Service criminal check, certification date that when was it completed. And there's also a date kind of showing after the NSC certification. It shows when you enter the statement. So those are 2 days when was the check completed and when did you sign off on that statement. Now, and tricky thing is that when you want to enroll the member, it will ask you so when is the member starting? The member starting, by the regulation, it has to be at least 1 day out of 1 day later after any out of these 4 days, the latest one. So if the latest one is August 7th, showing here on the slides, the earliest possible enrollment date will be August 8th of 2023 at that point. Pretty common issue that we see in the end, because a lot of the enrollment process also happens offline, in addition to e-grants. So there is very frequently a program, make a promise to the member that you are starting on, let's say, August 1st. There's a cohort starting on August 1st. But whatever steps in E-grant is not agreeing with you, that is prohibited from enrolling in August 1st. Well, guess what? The E-grant is holding to the E-grant start date is going to be what we hold to in terms of auditing, or monitoring. So if the members start before August 8th in this point, we just simply cannot reimburse any costs associated with it, despite the member was serving, despite make the promise to the member, everything looks good on paper, but but haven't been actually done in E-grants. We just simply can't reimburse the cost because E-grant start date is what we hold as the earliest possible, reimbursement date. So make sure that whatever you're doing offline with the member should in sync with E-grants. And so I'm sure a lot of programs, if any PD would like to share the experience that so you have a cohort that plans start on August 1st, but certain members got the automatic check verify instantly, good to go. Some members, the manual check takes like 2-3 weeks. So, but the cohort start on August 1st, they were missing out the training. What do I do at that point? You can invite a member to participate in the training, but unfortunately, we cannot include those hours or those costs, in the grant. So it is crucial for you to build up like a time frame before your program start for enrollment purposes, because otherwise you will have member that is ready to go. You will have member who is still not, still not technically allowed to start in, by E-grants. You are in a, you're between hard and rock in a hard place at that point. We want to avoid that scenario. So definitely build in, I would say, at least a 2-week head start if you are kind of new to this, or even if you're familiar to this, because if you have done it in the past, the manually return sometimes could take a while.
Cooley. I'm sorry, Cooley.
Hmm?
Looks like Colleen has her hand up.
I do. I have
Sure.
a question. So our start date was September 1st, but we have not gotten an award letter yet. So I assume we're still not allowed to put anybody in the system. Is that correct? That we have to wait till we have the award letter? And then does the start date go back to September 1st? Or does the start date become the date of the award letter?
I believe the start date will be the earliest is the award letter, but it could even be later depending on how the New York State contracting works. I believe your program administrator will eventually approach you on that topic if they haven't already. I thought we sent out a notice on late last week. I don't know if Michael can confirm if for us.
No, I think thanks, Cooley. It's to confirm, you wouldn't be able to start prior to an award, but we're still kind of waiting to see when those awards are issued, determine like the best start date for any program that requested a 9-1. It's possible it may get moved to the next first of the month to 10-1, or it could be on the date of the award, but we haven't really quite settled on that because we're kind of waiting to see when the awards come in and what else needs to be done. So kind of stand by on that. But to confirm, you can't start prior to an award.
So we can't do anything at this point until we have that letter in hand, and then we can go into e-grants and start all this process.
Correct, because
Yeah,
without the award letter, the program is not even available in e-grants for any action at the time being.
Just a slight caveat to that. I mean, you can't do anything official yet, and you can't do anything that would be reimbursable yet. I mean, if you're able to do activity related to your program, there's nothing that would stop that, but just nothing formal. You wouldn't be able to formally enroll anyone, or I think we mentioned this last week that you could potentially do some recruiting or develop some materials and things like that, but we wouldn't be able to reimburse costs related to that yet until after an award. Thanks.
Christine, that answers your question in the chat, right?
Correct. We were having the same thought. I was just typing and Colleen was voicing. Thanks.
Definitely. No problem. Does anyone have any other? Oh, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, not to get too in the weeds on this, but just a slight caveat to Christine's comment. Some programs that were given a 3-year grant award prior to 2025 have a contract because they have a 3-year contract. So technically there are some programs that are going to operate in 2025 that have a contract in place. That's because they had one last year. So no newly awarded programs have a contract yet. So slight little nuance there.
Thank you, Michael.
And I can't seem to lower my hand, so I apologize.
I did. I did it for you. I got
Great,
you.
thanks.
No, you're welcome, Colleen.
And the final step will be the actually enrolling the members. So there are kind of 5 drop-down box or a selection. One is a date selection box. So you pick the start date. The start date, once again, has to be at least 1 day after, whichever the 4-day list above, the latest one, plus 1 day. That is the earliest possible start date for you to go back to. You would choose a program year, which for this part, it will be for a lot of program, it will be 2025. Some of the program will be 2024. So make sure you will get your program specific instructions from your PA eventually. And then you select your program name. The service location is optional, and then you have to select a slot type for the members. And then you click the checkbox that you certify this form, as the date is automatically popular as today, and then you can enroll the member at that point. So that will be a single enrollment for the entire process. So next, troubleshooting. Sometimes the enrollment member button doesn't light up. They will ask question, hey, I want to enroll this member. Well, first of all, you want to double check to see if both the social security and the citizenship has been verified or manually verified. Sometimes people go through the whole length and they didn't realize, oh, actually, I missed the citizenship is actually in the return status. Never actually pay close enough attention to that. So now they have to request a secure link and then submit the documentations, and then hopefully the help desk can get to it as soon as possible at that point. So that is one common recurrence is, forgot to kind of look into that field when you first kind of relatively new to e-grant process. Forgot to do the checkbox on NXC certifications that you have to certify it was complete on whichever date that you enter. And also you cannot enroll in a future date. So you can enroll, you can backdate the enrollment a little bit given that if the enrollment date is still 1 day after, the 4-day list above, I believe you can backdate it up to 15 days nowadays. So let's say if the members start, you forgot to hit enrollments. Everything was ready, all checked, all the certification, everything is all checked, good to go. You forgot to hit the enrollment buttons. Well, you have 15 days to go back and hit the enrollment button at least. So, so those are some common issue why the enroll member button is still maintain grades, even if everything you thought everything offline has been done correctly. Because everything in eGrant has to be done correctly at the same time, in addition to offline. Question is that we have our old contract ends on 9/30th, so we shouldn't be doing anything with our new contract yet. Well, if you have not officially been reached out by your program year 25 program administrator yet, and that have been informed your award for PY25 has to be an award, yeah, technically speaking, for the time being, there's nothing you do currently is verified can be reimbursable. So we cannot reimburse the cost. And like Michael said, you can still do something offline, kind of prep work, like identifying candidates, doing some promotion for the position, things like that. But the member will not be able to enroll, and we cannot count those hours, or we cannot reimburse any living allowance associated with them or any staff cost that is associated with the program for now until we officially got the award. So in a sense, yeah, AmeriCorps related work that require reimbursements or hours, it cannot be counted for the time being until we got the actual award. Did I answer the questions or?
I think we're good, Cooley.
Okay. Yeah. So that is all the question with enrollments. Anyone has any questions? feel free. I'm gonna give a couple seconds. If not, then I will move on to the next presentations. We still have about half an hour. It should be more than enough. Okay. Give me a few seconds. I'm gonna switch up the PowerPoint real quick.
I'm sorry, Christine. What was that? What was that you asked in the chat? We do plan on posting the videos after the training. So if that answers your question. Oh, okay.
So,
yeah. I'm sorry, Chloe, go ahead.
Sure. So let me try to be as timely as possible on this presentation. So National Service Criminal History Check, NSCHC, like I said, this is a mouthful for me, so sometimes I might just refer it as a background check. It is a AmeriCorps specific required background check. So just for free self, your agency may also require some other types of background check when you onboard a member. Each own agency have their own requirements. For example, if your agency work with children, chances are there's OCFS require background checks. So now, does it feel redundant to have multiple different background checks? The answer for AmeriCorps purpose, yes. There are specific way that AmeriCorps wants the criminal background check needs to be done. So a member might felt like they have to go through this process, a second time, but it is necessary to fulfill all the regulatory requirements, for different grants source that you are receiving for or the area that you're operating in. So despite your program, your agency, or the service location might already require different kinds of background check, we still have to go through this. So try not to say, because my agency already require a version of background check for a different process, so I'm just gonna let this one go. The auditor is not gonna let you fly on that. So there's some information on that. NSCHC is a constantly updated, they do have a manual on AmeriCorps website, and it is a constantly updated manual. I believe it has been updated about 6 times since last year, within the last year. So there's at least one person that is enrolling the member. I would prefer at least 2 people, going through the background check for the member is to be familiar with the ins and out of it, just because the frequency of it update is pretty frequent. And some items are outside of the AmeriCorps control. They make some leeway sometime as well, give some exemptions, waiver. So it's best to be informed at all times. We also try to send out the information from our mailbox for program wide when there is some kind of change to the field. But what I'm afraid is that the person that is performing the NSCHC in your agency may be the HR, but not the person who is directly getting email from us. It happens quite some, even with fiscal, there are some emails related to fiscal went out. It went to the program director, but then did it really reach the correct person in the end? We will not be able to tell. So definitely the program director, who received the information from us should be well versed in at least able to translate, interpret, or at least forward the information to the correct persons. I have seen cases that, there are some changes to NSCHC, but the HR never got informed and just been running the NSCHC the old way for like a good year. So the entire thing is wrong. And a lot of costs has to be disallowed just because of miscommunication at that point. So try to keep yourself up to date on the menu. They do make a kind of like what has been changed from the last time. So there's like a quick notice on that. So at least you don't have to go through all 40 pages document every time just to find out what was changed. Yeah, so keep yourself trained and educated on this topic. So going into the NSCHC real quick. So what is the basic requirement is that anyone that is in a cover positions is required to go through an NSCHC a background check. A cover position could be an employees, a participants, anyone that is receiving a salary, a education award, or living allowance or stipends under the AmeriCorps grants, even if the activity does not involve service with vulnerable populations, must undergo NSCHC before the employment or service can start. Now, in the enrollment, there is a certification for NSCHC is done before the members start the service. Same is with any staff time. While there is no enrollments in eGrant for staff, if you want to charge your staff's hours to the grant, you have to make sure the NSCHC is complete, fully adjudicated before they, their time is actually being charged to the grant. Otherwise, let's say, if I start working on this program today, but my background check wasn't done, 20 days later, from now to the next 20 days, well, guess what? My paycheck cannot be charged to the grant, and we cannot ask for reimbursements. Your agency would just simply have to eat the, payroll costs from the 20 days of work. So make sure anyone that is kind of starting in your agency that will be receiving a salary, living allowance, or even just simply an ad award, the NSCHC has to be done prior to them starting at any point. So any question regarding what is a cover position so far? So next two slide is kind of like an example. So this is a slide, kind of like a mock-up budget in eGrants that, we're just looking at personnel expense. Now in this picture, there are 5 different staff positions. Could have multiple people in one positions or maybe just one person, doesn't matter. So you will see that some of them are paid entirely by AmeriCorps share, CNCF share in this case. Let's say the program director is 100% federally funded. The program assistant is kind of like a 50-50 half split funded. Your agency pay half, and your program, the AmeriCorps pay for the other half. The local wholesale supervisor, which you might not manage directly, but they contribute their time to the grants. And then accountants, which is your administrative staff on the grants, or even maybe CFO have a really low usage, maybe just have like a 1 meetings every 3 months. You want to charge that time to the AmeriCorps grants on AmeriCorps related items, which is eligible expense. The example is very extreme for $1, but just to kind of get the point across. So looking at this, budget. So the question is, so which one is the cover positions? Because the cover positions will determine if a criminal background check is required, for that person or for that staff. And the answer is that all of them, because as long as their salary show up on the budgets that you charge them to the grant, doesn't matter how much, doesn't matter between the allocations, whether federal share, grantee share, or 100% on either side, doesn't matter the usage, even if it's just for $1, 1 hour, 1 minute. As long as you are charging their time to the grant, they have to go through a criminal background check in order for the cost to be eligible, including match. So if you see a local wholesale supervisor, which is row number 3 here, they are contributing 10% of their time, and the 10% of the time is entirely grantee match share. That is also require NSCHC. So hopefully that answered Christine's questions. Or even the accountant, which is the administrative purpose. Now, just for 5% of their time, they only do the claim report, and this agency will cover that cost. Well, we also have to go for criminal background check for that accountant. Otherwise, the $3,250 cost, we cannot include them as part of the grantee match. They would just simply be considered ineligible. So doesn't matter grantee match, doesn't matter federal share, doesn't matter the allocation, doesn't matter the usage, how big, how little they are. As long as you are charging their salary to the grant, it has to go for criminal background checks. The little bit caveat is that the hardest for this to, a few things to consider is that while some costs did incur, but not all costs are eligible, because let's say you do have whole sites in different schools, and the teacher contribute a portion of their time to supervise the AmeriCorps member. Well, you have to make them committed to go through the criminal background check process. you also have to have them committed to submitting a timesheet that is down to like at least an hourly schedules, saying on which hour I was working with AmeriCorps member, on which hour I was working on non-AmeriCorps related activities. So you have to get an actual timesheet from this, this local host site supervisor. Chances are sometimes they did spend the time, but they are not able to provide the actual documentation required to prove it. In the sense of fiscal world, if they cannot prove it, it just simply did not exist. Because if you want to claim certain costs, you have to be able to prove it. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but if you're not able to prove it, don't claim those costs. So make sure that is part of your consideration when you build your budgets. There are sometimes that you are not able to obtain the documentations, or in this case, the CFO, you're claiming $1, you have to go through the criminal background check, you have to ask them to submit a timesheet. The trouble is, it's not worth the trouble for the cost at that point. So be aware when you build your budget, because I see there are certain budget that lists like 20 different staff, and each have like a 3% usage, 2% usage. What you have to understand is not like I just say 3% and it's, we can claim that amount. You have to actually go for the background check and submit timesheet for it. So, be cautious when you submit a budget, like, is it worth the trouble, to a certain degree. For Christine,
oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, there's question about contractor. So contractor, it depends. Are you charging contractor to salary, to like personnel expense, or if there is a contractor category? Like for example, if you are hiring a evaluator, that the hiring is based on, the payment is based on the completion of the project, or it's based on project base. Yeah, in that case, those does not have to go through a criminal background check. So contractor, is exempt from this requirements. But anything that you issue a payroll to, essentially, yes. So next slide, let's go through a couple exemption. Every rules have some kind of exceptions, right? That will be too easy with no exceptions. So exemption number 1: who is under the age of 18 on the first day of service? You are not required to go through the NSCHC for them. Second item is that if the staff times is included in the indirect cost. So in the last slide's example, so some program want to charge the actual hours of an accountant. Somebody just want to put that cost, include that the portion of the cost in the indirect cost, which is unfortunately kept at 5%. But if they want to, for the federal share, but they want to just simply include that in the indirect cost line, that is perfectly okay. In that case, anything in the indirect cost line also does not have to go through the NSCHC, the background check. If your grant is a fixed cost, or if your grant is a planning grant, any staff costs associated with it, does not have to go. Any staff working on those grants does not have to go through criminal background check. The members still do, but not the staff. So those are the 3 exemptions. Before I talk about the actual, components of the check, any questions on who is required and what are some exemptions? 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay, looks good. Moving forward. So in the NSCHC, so we talk about the, requiring to do it. So what actually entails, there are 3 components in a complete NSCHC. So first, it is a NSOPW, the National Sex Offender Public Website check. Just since it's also a mouthful, I'm just going to refer to NSOPW from this point onward. And then the next check is state of residence and state of service background check. State of residence and state of service. Our state of service for this portfolio, for this group, will always be New York State, because that is a limitation of the grant that has to be operating solely within New York State. The state of residence could be a little bit different, and we'll go into it in a little bit in details. A person could be applying from out of state when they want to, before they relocate and serve here, or just maybe very recently we have a person moving back from out of country. So those are considered out of state check. And lastly, there is a FBI fingerprint-based checks. So those are the 3 components. But first of all, I'm going to go over the easiest check, which is a state of service check for now, because the state of service check now, because there is a joint database with New York State has an agreement with a joint database with FBI. So when you run an FBI checks, the fingerprint based check, it will automatically include the New York State check in there because of their agreement behind the scene. Not all state has this agreement with FBI. There is 21 state that does actually 26 state that does at the time being. So if the state of service, which will always be New York in this case, included, and if the state of residence is one of these 26 states, then you do not need to do any additional state check because that state check is automatically included in the FBI checks, which is another required component. So we're trying to avoid some duplicative effort that is not necessary in this case. So FBI, so New York State check is basically not included in the FBI check, which is another required step. And 26 state listed here is also included in the FBI check. So if the out-of-state check is, required, and it is listed here in one of 26, you also don't have to do them. So talking about the state of resident check, or sometimes more commonly referred as the out-of-state checks. So it is defined where the candidate was residing at the location when they apply to the service positions. Now, like I said, the word apply could be interpreted as applying offline through other platforms, social media that you guys use. The term apply could also be referring e-grants. There's no defined. You could just kind of use the earliest one or that you have. That when they apply to you. Now, also there's no time frame requirement, like the person has to be staying, let's say, in Massachusetts for 3 years before considered state of resident. Just simply the state of resident, even for just a single day at the point of applications, will meet the definitions. Couple kind of irregular, for example, first is the college students. So for the purpose of AmeriCorps requirements, if an individual applying to serve or work, actually I should emphasize the state of resident requirements also extend to staff. So if there's any staff that is joining your agency from out of state, the same rules will apply. College students, any individual applying or serve who work or enroll as a full-time college students is deemed to be residing in a state where they live for the purpose of attending school. So even if they have a home that they return to every summer, but where they attend college will be considered a state of residence. So to kind of clarify that scenario a little bit, for any foreign residents, which happens very rarely, but the last state of resident before they went on board to outside of United States will be considered state of residence. Must also requires a state check, if it's not covered under the FBI fingerprint check. So, like I said, because the work apply and is kind of not exactly defined so you want to document how you come to that conclusions. Don't just, like I said, don't leave room for interpretations. Always, if anything that is not something that might be kind of obvious to you, but you have to pretend that there's a third person seeing it, for the first time. That will be the auditor. So very frequently that couple example I can think of. The member submit an application to you, and the application has a physical address of New York State, but the member gave you a driver license, let's say from Texas or Massachusetts. So there are conflicting documentation that could potentially the member is indicating they are applying out of state. With those two documentations, there is just not enough information to make a conclusive decisions on there. So in your mindset, you may be saying, okay, we have the application in hand. There's a signature, there's a date, there's a time. It's all good to go. But there is also conflicting information presented. So just add a one paragraph statement to the member file saying that on this day, whoever verified, the member was living here, and that's why I determined the state of residency is so and so. Just make sure that you document how you come to that conclusion. It could be just a simple one paragraph. don't have two conflicting informations and then ask the auditor to interpret, which one is correct, because it is their responsibility to question it, and then don't presume. That will be my general statement is don't presume they will understand what go through your fraud process. Write it down precisely. This is what I saw. This is what I witnessed, and this is how I come to my conclusion. Very simple, one paragraph. Doesn't have to be like a lengthy, clarifications. But it help address a lot of confusions down the road. So now get the stage out of out of the door, because for the most part, we don't have to go through the stage check. So between NSOPW and the FBI check, so how exactly do we perform those checks? So starting program year 2023, which is 2 years ago, the Next Day Commission required the usage of TrueScreen, which is an AmeriCorps approved vendor for background check, to perform all checks, including NSOPW, including out-of-state check if required, including the FBI check. So TrueScreen is kind of the one portal for all NSCHC at this point. So which is in my opinion is better than the past, because in the past 3 different required components, you actually have to go to 3 different agency to get each check individually. This is kind of like a one-site portals. So from a user perspective, hopefully that is easier to manage. So there are some resources on how to request a TrueScreen accounts and things like that. But TrueScreen, while they perform the checks for you, there are certain responsibilities still on your end. You have to enter the correct information, specifically the name. Because when they do a name check, they are going to do a check on the name that you specifically enter. They will not have a better clue if that is the correct spelling of the person that you're trying to look up. For example, if you request a check for Coolio instead of Coolie, well, they don't know Coolie is a real person or Coolio is a real person or not. Chances are they both are, but Coolio is just a different person because the one that you're trying to look up is actually Coolie. So they will try to look up Coolio and you get a result clean and for all's good to go, but that's not even the same person that we're trying to verify there. So it is your responsibility to make sure you enter the name correctly, because I'm pretty sure there is a Coolio somewhere in the world. Might not have the same social security number as I do, but I'm sure there is one somewhere. It is your responsibility to request the check timely, because you have to certify when it was complete. If you start the member and they do the check, they're not going to backdate the check for you. So like I said, the certification indicate you have completed check before the member enroll, not after. Okay. And then last, a little bit confusing item is that TrueScreen will provide a result for you saying, it is clean, it is not clean. But what TrueScreen really does is that they are performing a check up to the required standard by regulations. They don't make the final decision. They only provide you more or less a recommendation saying that we ran the check, is clear or not clear. We couldn't find anything. We searched the record as exactly required by the law. Now, they only give you a clear or not clear result. So that is what they find. Your agency has to what they call adjudicate it, which is one step beyond looking at receiving the result. You have to adjudicate, refer to somebody from your agency has to actually look at the result and then make a determination. Okay, we're enrolling the member, or are we declining the member at that point? 99% of the time, if a member's result come back clear, you want to just adjudicate and saying yes, we're accepting the member. Or sometimes if the member's result come back as not clear, it is not the end of the day, because there are ways to appeal it. Just because the check come back as not clear doesn't mean the member is ineligible. Because the law requires that in terms of criminal offenses, only murder and sex offender cannot serve, but they could be coming back with a not clear with other issue that is not murder or sex offender. So they could come back with a not clear result, but still be eligible. There are some steps on how to require further informations beyond the not clear result in the manual. But so remember, this is more or less a recommendation. This is not final nail in stone. Your program has to adjudicate it. So make sure to enter the name correctly, make sure to do it timely, and make sure to go back and adjudicate it. Now, if the check comes back as clear, and if you forgot to adjudicate the result in TrueScreen, guess what? As an auditor is concerned, that is not a complete check, because the law requires in writing that it has to be somewhere in writing one step beyond reviewing the result to be considered a complete check. So make sure do not miss the adjudicated step. It is very frequently missed it because a logical person saw, okay, the check is clear, it has a green light, we are good, right? No, that's not that yet. So make sure if you look at the result, it's clear, then you go into and hit pass, which is the adjudicate buttons in TrueScreen. So which we'll go over a little bit. So these are the resources. I know this this is link that we won't be able to click right here. But this AmeriCorps has an NSCHC homepage that has if I can correctly, there's 23 document active links for you to click into.
So,
and then if you go into their
I just checked and they do work.
Yeah, they do work for now, but they're going like a remodeling
renovating, yeah.
Renovating for their website, so the link might change. We'll try to keep it posted. But even just on the NSCHC homepage, there's 20-something links that is for different sections of the NSCHC that that kind of explain more in detail. And what I do recommend is that they have a training platform called Lightmost. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly. They also contains video on how to request an account and how to actually look at request a check and how to kind of adjudicate a check. So they have videos in there as well. So for the person that is performing NSCHC, definitely make sure go through and watch those videos. If your program has any disallowed costs, which we refer as, I guess in a way, penalties in the program year, I would say a good 85 or even 90% of them is because they miss up something in the NSCHC. Because we do have a pretty tight system when it comes to like submitting other costs for reimbursement. For example, supplies. James has a very dedicated system that will catch when you submit in a claim. However, for NSCHC, we don't see it in the claim, so we won't be able to tell until until like a monitoring exercise happens. So which could be months or even years later at that point. So we don't want to find out any issues months or years later down the road. We want to find it as early as possible so that the disallowed cost can be as little as possible, which hopefully could be mitigated with some offset strategy. So the commissions hopefully will be also enhancing the monitorings in this program year moving forward. We kind of did a little soft exercise for monitoring for any member that was kind of enrolled since March of this year. There was a termination between, but there were some member enrolled since March to now. It's about 300 members. And when I ran the exercise, there's still roughly 5% of the members that I cannot have a conclusive information to say the members NSCHC has been complete correctly. There are definitely a couple of them has timeliness issue. There are a couple of them that has a naming issue. They mistyped the name, or they were confusing with the first name, last name, middle name. Especially if that name has different culture, that makes it harder sometimes. So the PA should be reaching out to those programs, hopefully relatively soon, but there's still like a 5% error rate for the 300 members that I look up. So which if we catch them early, we can mitigate as much disallowed costs as possible. So very important. So even and as we know, those 300 members were enrolled by experienced program at this point. They were kind of current program of ours. There's still there's still some errors being done. So do not just brush it off to thinking it's an easy issue. Also, there is a annual in the training platform of AmeriCorps, there is an annual course that at least one body from your agency has to do it annually. And then once you complete that, you will receive a certificate, which is good for 1 year. And after 1 year expires, so at least another person or the same person has to retake it before the certificate expires. So that is an annual required course. Make sure somebody from your agency has that certificates, up to date, active. Don't let it expire. Otherwise, that will be a finding on your agency, that even including our commission's office. So make sure somebody from, including our office, somebody has an active certifications. I don't know who in our office has an active certifications beyond September 24, but yeah, make sure that we have one. Timing on the NSCHC is once again bolded red, is it has to be complete at least a day before the member actually start or the staff actually start. There has to be at least a 1 day gap, which is the enrollment will serve as a good, kind of roadblock to kind of, because the enrollment will kind of block you from enrolling member on the same day. But the staff time, we won't be able to tell when the NSCHC was completed just from claims. We'll tell when when the time was being charged to the grant. So there's 1 day before they start their hours of service. Common mistake that we see, there is a timeliness issue. You request a check late. Like I said, there is very frequently an offline process to start the member on a certain day, but then things just happens. That not able to start all the members at the same time. So timeliness is a big issue. Typos on the name or not familiar with how the spacings or sometimes hyphens happens really often. And then there's out-of-state residency check you didn't verify. For example, if you have conflicting information, make sure put a statement, and missing the adjudication step in TruScreen. What is the expirations of the NSCHC background check? The background check itself is good for that one enrollments, I suppose. It doesn't expire. So in this questions, let me. There's a lot of chat messages pop up. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay, cool. So Alana, what's the expiration of the NSCHC? You answered that already, right?
Yeah. So if a member is re-enrolling between terms, so let's say if a member complete a term and then resume and then re-enrolling again, as long as we refer to the days between the two terms as gap in service, as long as the gap in service is less than 180 days, the original NSCHC is still good. So if the gap is less than 180 days, you do not require a recheck for that case. So that is the referring to the expiration questions. Any other questions I can be assist with? Yeah, this is 12:30, so I'll just kind of.
Did you want to show your last slide right quick, Corey?
Sure. One last thing to emphasize: if you messed up on the criminal background check, we could potentially disallow any costs associated with that person for up to 3 months, or AmeriCorps reserve the right to go even further. So if you type in the incorrect spelling out of name, might be just very simple human errors, happens, to the best of everyone. Well, guess what? If it doesn't catch the issue early on, we have to disallow up to 3 months. Could be salary, could be living allowance. So, which is a very heavy penalty for a typo. But that's why emphasize to do it on the accuracy of the NSCHC. But that's great. Just want to emphasize there are potentially fiscal consequences if you don't do it correctly. So that's it. I'll try to end the slides here. If there's any question about actual TruScreen usage, those documentation will probably provide better explanation than I do, the menu.
And just one more thing right before we leave, there is a quiz. I dropped the link for it in the chat, and there's the QR code. And thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you next week. It's a Monday. Don't forget that. So I'll send out an email to remind everyone. Thank you.